Carl Munson here talking to Matt Penfold of Fiduciary Wealth Management for this Expats Portugal show. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Carl. I'm really good. Bit chilly today, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty good. And you?
We don't like to say that. I'm in much the same condition. There's a bit of fog here, which again doesn't paint the rosiest picture of the Iberian Peninsula from where we're both speaking. But that's the truth of it. It is a bit chilly, but still not too bad for the 6th of December, right? We're still enjoying a
I
few more
think,
degrees than our
yeah,
friends back home.
I think we have to consider it in comparison to our friends who are still in the UK, for example,
Yes.
because chilly to us now is t-shirt weather in the UK, I think, and you complain to friends back home, and it's raining or it's breezing or whatever. So yeah, we're Brits. We like to complain about the weather regardless,
That's
but
true.
yeah,
That's
no, it's
true.
all good.
The fog here is a layer of insulation for us today. But the great thing is, of course, and I don't know if it's the same for you where you are, but it can be quite cold in the morning, and then it brightens up by lunchtime, and we've got those sort of temperatures that we came here for.
It's very true. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I'm stuck in the office all day, so I get in the cold in the morning and the dark and the cold in the evening by the time I leave. So, but no, I mean, at the weekend, I went for a walk, and at midday it was beautiful. The sun comes out, you're under it, and it's incredible.
Yeah, and here we are talking from the Iberian Peninsula, and this is where, of course, you serve customers as Fiduciary Wealth Management. We're used to talking to Paul Correa on the morning show, and
Yes.
you are in the business there at Fiduciary Wealth Management with Paul. What's your role over there, Matt?
Okay. So, Paul, that I guess a lot of your viewers will be very familiar with. Um, so he's our managing director. I'm director here and financial advisor. So I cover quite a lot of areas. So I head our client services. So that's kind of looking after our existing clients and yeah, meeting and talking to potential new clients, people we can help. Paul and I travel a lot together. Sometimes I guess we get fed up with each other, but we're to the UK or across the coast in Spain or across to Portugal, and which we plan to do much more next year as well, which is nice. Post COVID as well, we missed all that. Um, so yeah, so I cover a lot of it. As you probably know, Carl, we cover the whole Iberian Peninsula, so Gibraltar, Spain, and Portugal, and yeah, it's trying to help people out.
And in what way do you help people out? Because I know when Paul's been on the breakfast show, he's talked a lot about the markets and he's stirred up quite a lot of controversy and debate about the way things are going. These are volatile times we live in. We were talking about the weather earlier on, weren't we? And the volatility in the weather. It's nothing compared to the volatility in the financial world at the moment. But that's what you're seeking to help people with in this particular niche of Spain, Portugal, and Gibraltar, right? Is navigating the choppy waters of wealth management.
No, no, absolutely, and yeah, I mean the markets are incredibly volatile as they have been for a couple of years, and prior to that, we had this kind of long bull run. Investors were making money, and everyone thought it was easy, and you don't realize until we go through kind of difficult periods where you need that expertise to kind of guide you through. Um, but from our point of view, it's not just the investments and the markets and navigating through that. A key part of what we do is giving what we call tax-led investment advice, and we deal with a lot of expats, mainly expats, and the tax and the financial products that you're used to in your home country are completely different to how they will be taxed, and the financial products and everything surrounds that in your new country.
Mm.
So we help people kind of navigate the difference between the two, uh, really from the kind of the early start of that process. So when somebody's, if we can capture someone before they're planning to relocate, that's really our aim.
Mhm.
Because we want to help people plan through that process, make sure they exit their country properly, make sure that they kind of structure their investments, assets, financial products, and everything in their new country. We also can help people relocate as part of that as well. I mean, now we're
Yeah.
in a post-Brexit world, and we don't want to talk about Brexit too much because I'm sure people are very bored about that. But for Brits post-Brexit, you now unless you have access to an EU passport or a spouse. There's the issue of visas and things like that. There's the issue of the NHR scheme and navigating through that. And we're able to help people with that whole process. Now,
Interesting.
yeah, it's not solely based for those people who are in the process of relocating. We often engage with people who are already living in Spain, Portugal, Gibraltar. They may even already have an advisor they dealt with, and we're able to give a kind of second opinion on how their finances have been dealt with, because we see a lot. And I recently met someone last time I was in Portugal, and he had an advisor for a couple of years, and I'd been talking to him about something else, and I said, look, just let me have a look at your situation. We do a free, no strings analysis of it, and what we found was really appalling, to be
Oh,
honest. And I knew that would happen because the firm that he'd been working with, I'm well aware of them. I'm well aware of the sort of practices they do. Um, I'm well aware of how they treat or don't necessarily look after their clients. So he's able to kind of look under the bonnet of his investments and how it's structured. And yeah, it was really bad. So we were able to help that guy. He's now a client of ours. We've been able to kind of restructure his investments so they're more tax efficient in Portugal. We're going to be able to restructure the underlying investment so it's his money. He will be able to make more money, that it's managed properly. So that's the sort of thing that we can help people with too, Carl.
that's really interesting, and I wanted to ask you about the relocation. So we'll return to that, because there's a very interesting distinction I noticed in what you were talking about there. But looking under the bonnet and finding some shocking sawdust in the gearbox, to use that metaphor here,
Yeah.
despite the direction of travel for the financial world and increasing regulation, some still shocking things take place today. There's still some what we could consider borderline malpractice, or is it more a matter of people doing things to suit how they might get paid? Is that a fairer analysis? Commission-based salespeople are going to lead you to a certain kind of product, aren't they? Their
I,
product.
I I think it's a bit of both, to be honest, Carl, and the two can often be linked. How people get paid is a big one, and we have a big gripe with that, because if you've got a commission only advisor, and I say advisor in that sense, but because to me these are glorified salespeople.
Yeah.
They want to sell you a specific product so they can take a large upfront commission from that product. So there's a lot of problems with that. Are they giving you the right product? Are they just giving you what makes them the most money? B, you're paying a hell of a lot of money up front. And C, because these people are receiving their fee up front, there's no motivation for them to continue that relationship or look after that relationship. It's kind of
Yeah.
right, we'll set you up in this product, we'll take our money, I'm going to move on to the next guy.
Mhm.
Whereas even if they set up it properly, which they don't, even if they set up it properly, you've still got to manage it on an ongoing basis. You know, we do value the relationships we have with our clients, and we spend a lot of time catching up with clients, or updating them, or kind of reporting them, or meeting up with them, and especially in a market like we have now, you can't just sit there and just leave things as they are. They have to be managed properly, and so there's that side of it as well. So we have a um, big problem with so-called advisors who operate in that way, and we want to kind of change the reputation of financial advisors, because I think some people do have a negative perception of financial advisors, and because there are certain firms and individuals who operate that way, especially targeting the expat market. I understand why people have that kind of pessimism and a reluctance to work with people, and we want to change that. We want to be the other guys.
Mhm.
We want to be the good guys, I guess, Carl.
Yeah, well said. And I suppose that this is distinction between relationships and transactions, isn't it? And there are transactional relationships, which is what commission tends to be, right?
Yeah.
And there's relationship based work and how to deal with clients. And you're looking, I take it from what you're saying, a long-term ongoing relationship. And you're not commission based. Whereas, in a commission based environment, people often make their money and then disappear, which is understandable, but it's not probably the best support you can offer people for the long term. And you are in a long term business, right? You're not in the business of quick returns and short termism. This is a long term relationship you want to cultivate with clients.
No, absolutely. I mean, the products that we set up are designed for long term. The investments are for long term, and so is a relationship. And we choose to operate in this way because we feel it matches our values. And I always say, Carl, I'm an expat myself.
Mm.
I moved out to Spain with my family, and I think the way I look at it is I want to treat people how I would want to be treated, and I consider my journey as an expat, and I can look at that and think, okay, how would I have approached it? What would I have needed? And so that's the way I look at it. And the and to go back to the kind of commission only salesman, I totally understand why they operate the salesmen themselves, because they've got to pay their bills, they've got
Yeah.
to feed their family, and so they've got to look where their next sale is coming from. I mean, these people make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we understand that, but it's the I guess it's the company that they work for who put this in place. I
Yes.
understand again why they want to do that. It's a quick way of building their business.
Yes.
Maybe it's not so sustainable in the long term. Time will tell.
Yes.
And yeah, we look at the long term relationships and how we think our company can continue to grow.
And support people. Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, so in the context here of Expats Portugal, we are talking about how you help people move to Portugal and get settled here. And I suppose one of the two things. One is that when people are thinking of moving, it was where we started. People moved away for better weather, better lifestyle, better conditions, and to be somewhere in the sun and enjoy their life in a different way, in a new way, in a new country. And they maybe with their focus on those parts of the journey, their focus isn't necessarily on some of the more nuts and bolts issues of fiduciary wealth management, literally of managing their wealth and their finances. So they may put their head in the sand with that kind of stuff and not want to think about it. And we've seen this with the NHR, for example, and with other tax efficiency systems. That if you don't think about it early on, you can miss out, can't you? And that's whilst we're talking about the niche here being Portugal and how you can help people in Portugal. Ideally, you want to be talking to people whilst they're still presumably in the United Kingdom. Am I right in thinking that's where the bulk of your clients move from to the Iberian Peninsula? You're dealing with a lot of UK people.
Yeah, predominantly Brits coming from the UK. We do have clients who are originally from other countries, and we can help them out.
Yes.
But from the kind of exit side, our speciality is Brits. But you're right, Carl. I mean, there's so much to consider, and when people are relocating, I think there's two kind of main factors. There's a lifestyle factor. So when we're looking at Portugal, we're talking about the weather, the great people, the great food, the great lifestyle. Portugal ticks that box 100%. And then the other factor is the financial factor. How much will you pay in tax? How much money will you have at the end of the month? How much will you be able to save? How much can you protect your wealth to pass it on to your beneficiaries?
Mm.
And the beauty of Portugal is it ticks that box as well, which maybe other countries nearby don't. Um, so in Portugal, there's so many opportunities from a kind of financial point of view. But you're right, there's a timing issue that comes into it. NHR is a really, really good example in the sense that you need to obtain NHR before you become a tax resident for 1 year. If you're a tax resident 1 year, then you possibly missed your opportunity to take on the NHR.
Hmm.
There's other things that you can do again, using the UK as an example, that you should do before you move to Portugal. We're talking about things like maybe selling your house, taking your tax-free lump sum from your pensions. So there's opportunities to really benefit from a better tax regime But if you don't take advantage of them, then you're missing out. So we understand that when you're relocating, especially moving from somewhere like the UK to Portugal, there's that excitement. You want to be there. You're thinking about, at the weekend, I'm going to go to the beach or the cafe or do this. You just want to be there and live the life. We get that completely. We also get that when it comes to kind of looking at our finances and restructuring, sometimes it can be intimidating, or it's one of those jobs that we think, I'll do it another time. I'll do it
Yes.
another time. I get
Yeah.
round to it. But the fact is, the earlier you can do it, the better. Even if you've already relocated, the earlier the better, because then you can restructure and then you've got that peace of mind. And then you can go to the beach, think, right, I've sorted it now.
Mm.
I can truly relax. So I understand that, people like Paula and I get excited about financing investments, but a lot of people maybe don't kind of share that view. But it's such an important aspect of our life. And if we can reduce the amount of tax we pay using legitimate means, why
Yeah.
wouldn't we? And
Yes.
then, a lot of people who move to Portugal maybe move in because they're retiring. And we get to a stage in life where we think, okay, we want to protect our wealth so we can pass it on to our beneficiaries in the best way. How can we best plan for that as well? So we want to cover everything in one, and yeah, give people that peace of mind. And the fact is, the more tax you save, the better investments that you're doing, then you've got more money to spend on life's little pleasures that
Pastel
you
de
want.
natas. Yes, indeed. The
Yeah,
visit to the cafe that you mentioned. Yes,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've just something's just occurred to me when you're talking there about almost you're challenging the laws of physics because in many ways it's never too early, but it's also never too late to have a chat with you, right? So in
yeah.
the instance of people who've got a long run up to this, and this is I think this will come as a pleasant surprise to people that they can consider these sorts of wealth management options long before they leave the UK, for example. But even if
Yeah.
they have, it's not too late either because even if you've missed some opportunities by virtue of moving, it's not too late to have a chat and find out how you can further make the most efficient use of your or investments and taxation and inheritance with all of those things. So never too late and never too early to have a chat with you by the sound of it, which sounds
Uh,
contradictory, but I think it's true.
no, I think earlier the better.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, of course these things are never too late, and I think we go back to what we were talking about earlier about the relationships. Be we started early, but it's not like we that process ends. We're still talking to our clients, and people's circumstances change as well. So we have to make sure that we can help dealing with that. So it's not only that we built this relationship in the early days, it's not only that we structured things in the best possible way for your life in Portugal,
Mm.
but okay, something dramatically changes regarding, I don't know, the NHR scheme or the taxation, then we're there. You've already got this established relationship with someone who can guide you through that process.
Yeah.
Okay, something changes, and I don't know, you may want to return to the UK, your home country. We can help in that process as well. So the beauty of having that sort of relationship as well is not only have you resolved everything in the first place, you're already prepared to what may happen because you've got someone fighting in your corner, which is what we do.
Very good, very good. And something else that's occurred to me here. I mean, with all the work I've done in influencing, helping, supporting people move to Portugal, it's generally been lifestyle led. This is what I'm realizing in talking to you. It's generally been lifestyle led, and the first place people, or the first thing people think about now, especially the Brits, is the visa side. But from your angle, and with your with helping people with relocation, the whole package, you're a finance-led migration experts, aren't you? And that's a slightly different angle because a lot of people are thinking about the sun and the pastel donatas. But you could make an argument, couldn't you, that there is a case for finance-led migration. which is about the efficiency of taxation, and the maximization of investments, and the right kind of inheritance setup, and changing your will accordingly to the whichever country you're moving to, in this case Portugal. But that's a new way for me to see it, and I suspect a new way you'd like other people to see it, the finance led expatriation.
Yeah, to some extent, I think the key driver is always going to be the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, but the finance, and Portugal is relatively kind of unique in the sense that because we have the NHR tax scheme, it's so attractive for expats, and it's not only just the kind of taxation during the NHR. There are things that you can do as an expat that are not available to you while you're living in the UK, that can reduce your inheritance tax exposure, for example, reduce your income tax bill. So it's interesting you say that, because when people approach us, and I often ask, okay, what's the reason? What's the motivation? And I think people often kind of start with the lifestyle. And
Mm.
people might think, at the early days, oh, you know what, we talked about the weather earlier, it's freezing cold, I can't do another winter in the UK. And then they start from there, and then they think, okay, where would I like to live?
Yeah.
And Portugal will come onto their horizon on both the lifestyle and the financial, and they might consider Portugal because of the lifestyle, and then they discover the financial side of it, or
Yes.
consider Portugal because of the financial side of it, and then think, wow, it's an incredible place to live from that point of view as well. So but it's interesting, we're talking to people every week, and a couple of more people recently have actually said to me, with what's happening in the UK from a financial side of it, they're very concerned with how the government is managing the I guess the financial side of it. They're
Yeah.
also concerned, and so this isn't a political thing, because they're also concerned that if a Labour government come in, things could get worse. Um, so they're actually looking at it from that side of things. Actually, that okay, we want to exit the UK.
Yeah.
Where is better, and
It's
why
quite a
not
shift. It's
Portugal?
an interesting demographic, and a shift of consciousness for migrants, I think. And in the
Yeah,
same way, you hear this phrase, don't you? Like tough times make tough men. It might be that financially tough times make for financially savvy people, because maybe people, in exactly that scenario you just described, people didn't. When people are comfortable, they don't think so much about these things, do they? But when they start to feel the pinch,
yeah.
that might be creating the circumstances for financially led and financially influenced migration. Of course, you're the experts in helping people with that, and you do offer the whole relocation package. Let's finish on that. It's not just about the investments, the tax efficiency, and inheritance. You're also helping people with the nuts and bolts, right? With some people moving to the Iberian Peninsula.
No, absolutely. And I guess, and I've never really considered this before, Carl, but something you just said then made me think, in the sense of the fact that, again, referring to Brits now need a visa to come and live in Portugal. Okay, that's a real nuisance, and there's hurdles to come across. It's not a good thing in that sense, but also it does make people kind of take a kind of step back and think, okay, there's a process to go through,
Yes.
and then they might engage with a company like us who can say, okay, you don't just need to consider the visa. Let's consider what you're going to do with your financial assets as well, because in the past, hypothetically, a couple could say, you know what, we've had enough. We're going to jump in the car. We're going to drive down. We're going to find
Yes.
somewhere. And
Yeah.
and and the problem in that scenario is that somebody would do that and think, okay, we're here. We've got this great life. And then maybe after a while they think, oh, I never really considered about paying my tax and
Yes.
the NHR and things like that. And it's missed. So now people can take that step back and think, okay, where am I now? Where do I want to be? I want to be living in Portugal. I want to be completely sort of there, and so they can engage early with us. And you're right, we cover the whole relocation, and the visas is a big part of it.
Yeah.
The NHR is a big part of it as well. That's the non-habitual residency scheme. I'm sure everyone knows what I'm referring to with that. Um, and so it's a kind of package that we offer. we have contacts in Portugal as well who can help with maybe kind of real estate and things like that, and your annual accounts. So I guess that it's a big move, and these things can be stressful. I mean, isn't it the three most stressful things you can do in life, isn't it? It's like moving house. I don't know what the others are, moving country or something, and it's either getting married or getting divorced.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
both of them, to be honest.
Yes, yes, yes.
Whereas this one, moving to a new country, but obviously you're moving home and new rules and everything is can be incredibly stressful. So that's where we want to help people and hold their hand through the process and offer a kind of one-stop shop package where we say, look, come to us, we can give you advice on this, we can help you with this, we can direct you on that, and just make it a lot easier, but also kind of improve the situation for everyone.
Brilliant. So whether you're looking to move to Portugal and you need to have a chat with Fiduciary Wealth Management, or that new orientation that I think Matt and I were just talking about there, that you actually have a wealth management based decision to make and migrate based upon that, and that's your starting point. Get in touch, as you can see, fiduciarywealth.gi there for Gibraltar, www.fiduciarywealth.gi. Last word to you, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think, look, I would always urge people to get in touch for a chat, whether you're planning to relocate or if you're already in Portugal and you think, you know what, if you haven't had a review of your finances and somebody's managing it, if you're unhappy, if your investments aren't performing, if you don't think they're tax efficient, reach out to us. We can do a second opinion free of charge. And we're more than happy to do that. So feel free to kind of contact us. One more thing I would mention, Carl, is I will promote our Money and Finance for Expats podcast.
Superb.
We've got an incredible host who helps us with that, and we're streaming that. It's 11 o'clock every Mondays, and we're providing information and a few kind of inside knowledge on that. So people are welcome to kind of subscribe to that on our YouTube channel as well.
And that's where you'll hear Paul's market insight, right? With the sort of the razzle dazzle that Paul brings to it, keeping an eye on things with a few of his bold, not so much predictions, because we're not in that business of predictions, are we? But declarations and insights and analysis of the market and the movements of money around the world.
There's plenty of that, yeah, weekly, and it's an interesting time. So I'm not sure if interesting is the right way to put it, but there's a lot to navigate. So yeah,
Absolutely.
for those who are missing Paul's voice, they can catch you in there as well.
Fantastic. Great to talk to you today. Thank you very much. I'll speak again soon. Ciao for
Wonderful.
now.
Thanks, Carl. All the best.
And
Bye.
you can find Fiduciary Wealth Management on the Expats Portugal business directory, as you can see on the ticker tape there at expatsportugal.com. Thank you very much, and bye for now.